I've been gaming every day until sunrise. I can't get gaming off my mind. Gaming is currently the only thing on my mind right now.
Gaming addiction is quite self-explanatory, whereas by the term gaming addiction means an individual who is addicted to playing video games for an excessive number of hours. There are 41% of people who play online games, and they admit that they play computer games as a method of escapism from the real world. This implies that 41% of people who play online games may be facing real-life world problems, or they may just want to enter a virtual world where they're free to do whatever they want. The history of gaming addiction dates all the way back to the year 1970, when there was the release of the first commercial video of games. However, it was the year 1980 when there were initial reports of gaming addiction. In 1983, two people named Sophie and Miller faced observations that gaming addiction is just like any other disorder or any other behavioral addiction. Furthermore, there was a lack of interest in other activities, and the individual wasn't as social due to gaming addiction. These individuals made friends with other video games addicts as well. During the 1990s, there was an increase of research into video game addiction, and all these studies were carried out in the United Kingdom. It was then in the 2000s when there was a substantial growth in the number of studies of video game addiction, especially because gaming started to expand and grow around the world. Around the years 2000 to 2010, there were 60 studies that were published on gaming addiction. Krishna is a 17-year-old student, and he talks about how gaming has had an effect on his life.
I feel gaming has changed my life, as like every game I play has a different moral and different storyline, and it brings up a new reality, and I just get amazed by that reality within the games and how each specific description and cell within the game can affect a person's life. I feel it's affected my education in various ways, especially in ways where now like I'm unable to cope with certain subjects, and like very like and when it comes to exams and all that, I don't tend to do very well, as I then tend to get diverted or start to daydream about the games I'm going to play when I get home. And yeah, it's various aspects like that that distract me from my education life. I feel a positive effect of gaming addiction would be me getting to meet new friends within the gaming community.
Unlike Krishna, Bhavik has a different life story about how gaming has affected his life.
I had experienced a lot of stress from school, and for me gaming was a stress relief until it got to a point where I had a complete addiction to gaming and could not survive without gaming. Through gaming I met a lot of new friends through the internet, and it allowed me to create a world which I could immerse myself in as well as socialize comfortably.
Mr. Armstrong is a teacher in KG5 and a gamer, and he'll be providing us a point of view of gaming addiction.
Okay. So my first question is, as a teacher, how do you think gaming addiction has affected students' lives academically?
I think if they're addicted to games, then they are not quite in control of making the right decisions. So if it's an addiction, then it's clearly going to impact on how much time they have to spend on homework, study, whatever it is they need to do. Once it's addiction, then the impact I think will be pretty severe.
Okay. And as KG5 is a school which allows students to bring laptops, which allows them to bring laptops to school. There have been cases where students would play video games in class. How do you feel about this as a teacher?
If it's playing video games that they're not supposed to be playing in class, you mean?
If they play video games during lesson, like when you're teaching.
Well, like any form of disruption or disobedience or waste of time, it should be punished along the same levels. I don't think that's the fault of the technology or the video game itself. I think that's, again, it's just a student's choice. So if they're making the wrong choice, then they should be spoken to about the choice rather than what they actually choose to do.
But in terms of them being addicted, do you think that like they're playing during lessons, like do you think like is there any way that you can maybe stop them from trying to do this in lesson and maybe work on what they're supposed to be working on?
If it's addiction, they probably need a lot more help than simple classroom interaction. They probably need some kind of coaching or counselling so that they can be shown how to make better decisions, how to plan out their time more effectively, how to play games without actually being or suffering from an addiction to playing games. So it's about self-management, which some students probably need to be shown or taught how to do.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so as a teacher again, how do you think gaming addiction has affected a student's social life?
Well, today socializing through online learning platforms can actually be a form of, sort of social life.
Mm-hmm.
It might have some impact on them actually physically socializing with people, which could be a problem, but I think it can actually open up other avenues of getting to know people. But that being said, again, it's not the actual sort of game itself, it's the addiction that's a problem. So I guess it comes down to them knowing whether or not they've balanced their physical social life with their gaming social life.
Okay, and as a gamer and a teacher, do you think there are any positives of gaming addiction for a student?
Not gaming addiction, no.
Okay, so
But gaming, yeah.
So you don't believe like maybe there might be cases where they're more focused after playing games to work, and there any type of positive effects that they have after gaming?
After gaming, yeah, no problem. I mean, gaming can do a lot of things. It can be a stress relief. It can be, a reward. Say after a student does 2 hours of work, and then they can have half an hour of gaming as a reward. It can be a motivator. But gaming addiction, no, because that's obviously where it has come into a darker, more negative sort of field. But if it's just gaming, then I think, there's plenty of rewards there. And again, it might push them to work harder, to try harder, to set higher targets, to get more gaming time if they want, or to get a new game, for example, or to meet people online. But yeah, again, it just comes down to knowing where that line is between gaming a lot, or having addiction to